Hey, so this is a test for my first drawing lapse here. And if I can hopefully start this from scratch, we can actually get things moving here. There we go. Forgive me, we're working out the kinks. Hi, my name is Zane. I am one of the two artists for this channel. This channel was the brainchild of my friend John. We met in school together. We both studied industrial design at a school that I won't specify because I don't think either of us liked it that much. But anyway, we both want to get better at drawing for the sake of drawing art. So this was the first little challenge. My friend John pitched the idea that we kind of market our channel with these kind of robot avatar guys, and I thought the idea sounded pretty cool. So I've started scratching out my guy. I kind of struggled to find a silhouette and a shape that I liked at first. I decided to give him an inquisitive head scratch, and he's holding a paintbrush. This poor guy. Despite all the careful designing I gave him, he's really just not suited to be an artist. You tell me how well a robot with one eye would do judging depth perception and having that awkward, huge elbow flare blade thing getting in the way of you moving your arm during your drawing all the time. I eventually changed that because I realize it's really wonky and just doesn't make sense. But anyway, you saw me block out the figure here. I'm starting to darken up the lines, just give myself a little bit more clarity of thought. I didn't have... All I knew going into this drawing was that it was going to be a robot. So really just kind of winging the rest as it goes. I decided to give him these sweet gauntlet things. That's something that shows up a lot in my drawings, especially of robots. A lot of like knights' pauldrons have that sort of thing that bends around the thumb, as well as protects the back of the hand. So I thought, my poor doing his best robot here is going to have the same thing. Another thing that actually shows up a lot in my drawings as I think about it are those, the tubes that run from the face to the torso. I don't know, I just have a weakness for tubes, I guess. Kind of like how, Spawn has his chains flying all around his cape all the time. I don't know, I just figure they look cool. They imply that there's something living inside, I guess. Which behooves this artist robot here, I guess. It means that he has some breathing organic parts inside that... But damn it anyway, he's trapped in this metal shell and he's just gonna do his best to draw. Alright, here, this is kind of an important part of the process here. I'm trying to portion out his legs. Earlier they were a little too long, then I was questioning if they were level. I wanted this guy to feel big and bulky because the robot that my buddy John designed is long and lanky, so I wanted some contrast between those characters, kind of like the Portal robots. Oh my god, this guy looks a lot like a Portal robot, doesn't he, with his cyclopic eye. Huh. It's funny when you cognitively realize the things that you're influenced by. Anyway, I wanted this guy to feel big and heavy, and the little short shins he had weren't really doing that. So he feels sturdy and heavy and anchor-like now that his shins are a little bit longer, and his thighs are bowing outward. Kind of like he's got a sumo wrestler type posture going on, something like that. I've altered the bottom of that carapace thing so that his legs can actually go inside realizing here that he wouldn't have very much range of motion otherwise. Yeah, I did put, I realize I'm not too good at this concept art thing just yet. But I'm starting to, I'm trying to start to think critically about some of his proportions. Like, he's going to want to have at least limited range in his legs for movement, if only just like the sumo wrestler range. You've seen me a few times here resize and play with and redraw the proportions for that hand scratching his dome there. That's really the 10,000-pound gorilla in this drawing that I'm just really having a hell of a time ironing out. I realized that these shoulder pads I gave him wouldn't really give him that range of motion. So I'm trying to reconcile that with myself doing all these resizes and pushes and pulls and redrawing and resketching, and eventually I think I'm coming up pretty soon here on what I settle on. Eventually it's basically just bending his arm a little bit, and then his finger is doing the rest of the work to get it all the way to the dome. Yeah, I'm having a pretty good time with this drawing. I added the light source, gave him some rough value, and darkened the line around the top of the carapace just for legibility for myself. He's got a really, really simple silhouette, so anything I can do to kind of pull out those points of interest and try and push and pull on what's receding and coming forward and all that jazz is going to be really beneficial. I didn't really know how detailed to make this guy yet. There we go. That's the arm I settled on. That was my favorite so far, I guess. And as I'm watching the time lapse of last night's drawing, I'm okay with it. I totally just lost my train of thought, guys. I am so sorry. Oh yeah, so this is for the challenge. He's probably just going to be a little doodle that appears before every video or something, or it was just like a profile image. So I didn't really know how much detail to give him. I guess I can always come back with him. That's the beauty of working digitally. Oh, on that note, so I can't really speak for John. I'm not 100% sure. We're college friends, but he's living quite a ways away from me now. I'm living in Denver, Colorado. But I use a Wacom Cintiq, a Cintiq Companion. I got it about a year ago, and I've been loving it. I like that it's theoretically the last art tool I'll ever need. I have access to every color known to man. I can make whatever brush I need. I can use whatever canvas size I like. That's not to say that I completely stop using traditional mediums. I mean, if you stop using traditional mediums, every medium you work in is going to suffer. You gotta keep in contact with those roots. I would not be able to draw the way I do without having some functional knowledge in traditional media, and especially listening to the teachings of artists that are better than me. One artist I absolutely adore on YouTube, I think I've seen all of his time lapses, is Aaron Blaze. He's a phenomenal wildlife artist and retired Disney animator. And he basically has this philosophy that digital art and traditional art is inherently linked. And that's a beautiful notion to me. It makes perfect sense, given that a Cintiq here is basically just trying to replicate a fancy pen and sheet of paper. Oh, okay, so this is pretty much the end of the drawing here, guys. I'm just put on a multiply layer, and I'm just blocking in a few colors here to give them a little more interest. I hope you like what you heard. John and I are gonna keep at this. So I hope you stick around. Later, guys. Thanks for tuning in.